What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here with some conic sections in just absolutely atrocious forms right now. But don't worry. We're going to clean them up, make them look real nice, do a little complete in the square here. But we're also going to tell whether or not these things are a parabola, a circle, ellipse, or hyperbola. And you can do so without completing the square, okay? And that's a great multiple choice question to ask. Because some people are going to be like, oh, dude, I gotta complete the square like 5 times to figure out which one's the parabola or which one's the ellipse. There's some key things we can look for. So let's answer that question first, all right? First one here, I've got a positive 3x squared and a negative y squared, okay? That is just obvious hyperbola right there. So we're gonna write that down, hyperbola. All right, the other one, I have a positive x squared and a positive y squared, and my coefficients are different. That is indicative of an ellipse, all right? Had they both been the same coefficient, then it's a circle. And if we only have one of our variables squared, then it's a parabola, all right? So one variable squared is parabola, 2 variables squared, both positive and both the same coefficient, whether both 2's or just both 1's or whatever, that's a circle, right? And then both positive but different lead coefficients, that's an ellipse, okay? And the hyperbola is where one's positive, one's negative. It could be a positive 3x squared and a negative 3x squared. They could be the same coefficients, but if one's positive, one's negative, hyperbola, okay? Cool? Let's get to completing the square now. All right. So first things first with completing the square, I like to get any number, any constant off to one side, and I like to get my variables in order. So I got my x's first, all right, my y's second, or the positive variable that's squared first, and the negative second, okay? So this one's already set up here, already set up, all right? So I've got my 3x squared and my 6x. I got to take out the lead coefficient. Even if it's not a GCF of this and it results in a fraction, we got to take it out, okay? So the 3 needs to come out. Lucky for us, 6 is divisible by 3. And I'm going to have x squared plus 2x. I'm going to leave a little space here. Then I'll do the same thing over here with the y. I'm going to take out that negative, right? And then I'm left with y squared minus 8y, leave a little space, close my parentheses, equals 25. Woo, a little tight on space here. All right. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this term right here, this coefficient of that term, divide it by 2 and square it, okay? So I'm going to do it in orange off to the side here, and hopefully you can see this stuff. I know I got my shirt here. But we're going to take, actually, you know what? I got a little room here. Okay. So we're going to take the 2, divide it by 2, square it. All right, that's going to be 1 squared, which equals 1. And you might be like, bro, why are you writing out all these steps? We can just do this stuff in our head. It is helpful when we start having some fractions, which we're going to have over on this one here. I think I planned it. Anyways. All right, so we're going to add 1 here. But what am I adding to this side here? I'm really adding 3 times 1. So I got to add 3 to my right-hand side to balance things out, okay? I can't just add 1, because really it's 3 times 1 if I were to distribute that in, okay? Now let's do the this guy in here. So I'm going to take the negative 8 divided by 2, square it. That's negative 4 squared. That's 16. All right. So we'll add 16 here. But what am I really adding? I'm really adding a negative 16. So it'll be negative 16 over here to balance the equation, right? If I distributed that negative in, I'd get negative 16. So I got to put that on the right-hand side as well. Now, let's clean this all up, okay? So we're going to have the 3 still out there, chilling, all right? Here I'm going to have x plus 1 quantity squared, right? That number right there is always going to show up right here. So if we start getting into fraction land, seeing that number right there, super helpful when going back to factor it, okay? Then minus, we've got ourselves y minus 4. Whether you factor this or you just look down here and see negative 4, that's cool. Squared equals, and we got ourselves what? 28 minus 16 is 12. Cool. Now, we're not quite to our hyperbola form, right? It's got to be equal to 1, so we're going to divide everything by 12. No matter what that is, everything gets divided by it, okay? And then you just have to deal with it, all right? So 3 over 12, that actually reduces nicely. We're going to have x plus 1 quantity squared over 4. And over here, we've got ourselves y minus 4 quantity squared over 12 all equals 1. From there, we can get our center. We can find our different values for asymptotes, things like that. We're not going to really deal with that here in this video. That's for another time, okay? That's too much going on for one video. Completing the square and also determining what it was without even having to is enough for this dope vid. Let's get over to the ellipse now, okay? So in the ellipse area, do we have any rearranging to do? Rearranging, rather? Yes, we do. Okay. So I got 4x squared and the negative 12x. Let's put those together. So 4x squared minus 12x. We got positive 2y squared, positive 10y. And as I said before, any constants, let's get them over to the right-hand side. So we're going to add 5 over 2. So boom, there we go. Okay. Now we're in business, right? We're in business. I got to take out my coefficient, my lead coefficient of the squared term, right? No matter what it is, even if this guy's not divisible by it, I got to take it out. It's kind of a pain when that happens. It does. Luckily, not in this one here. These are all even. So I'm going to take out a 4, and I'm left with x squared minus 3x. Leave a little space. Close them. Here I've got 2 coming out. Y squared, right, plus 5y. Leave a little space. Equals 5 over 2. Okay. It's a lot of math to fit on this board. I think it's all fitting. Looking at, ooh, it's fitting. Okay. Got a little monitor here on my watch, which is super duper handy. All right. Now let's do the same kind of thing. So we're going to do a little side math down here, right? We'll go orange again for the first one, deal with my x's, all right? So, negative 3 is not divisible by 2. That is a bummer, guys. It's a bummer, but we'll deal with it. We're cool. We're cool. So we got negative 3 divided by 2, square it, right? So I got to get. So what are we going to get here? We got, I can't even reduce that, right? So there's no sense in another step here. I'm just going to go right to 9 over 4. Okay. So add 9 over 4. But what did I really add here? It's hard to read 4. Okay. What did I really add on that side? Well, 4 times 9 over 4 is what I really added. So what's 4 times 9 over 4? That's just 9. So I'm going to add 9 on my right-hand side as well to balance things out, right? I didn't add 9 over 4. I added 4 times 9 over 4. All right. Now, how about the other one there? We'll do it in pink. So we've got, again, another one. All right, so we got 5 over 2 squared. So that's going to be, what, 25 over 4? So plus 25 over 4. But what did I really add to that side? I really added 2 times 25 over 4. So what's 2 times 25 over 4? Well, the 2 will reduce a little bit with the 4, and we'll just be adding 25 over 2. Okay. Guys, we're entering fraction land. And I know that's scary. But we're going to be okay. I'm going to do fraction land in green down here with those guys, okay? So I've got 5 over 2. I got to add 9, which I could rewrite as 18 over 2. And the 25 is over 2, right? I got a common denominator. I know adding fractions is a terrifying thing, right? But we'll get through it together, okay? Common denominator, that's just 2. You don't add those together. Just stays 2. In multiplication, you can multiply just straight across. Multiplication with fractions, easy money. Addition, got to get that common denominator, man. All right, so now I got 5 and 25 is 30, plus 18 is 48. Oh, look at that. It reduces down to 24. How wonderful. It's like I almost planned it on a sheet of paper off to the side before I made this video. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so there we go. Over here now, okay, we got a lot to do. We got 4. And then I have x. Oh, God. Who knows how to factor that? What multiplies to 9/4 and adds to negative 3? Oh, wait. My side math is coming in clutch. It's just going to be minus 3 over 2, baby, squared, plus 2. And then once again, side math for the win, 5 over 2. I guess you could think about it as like that guy divided by 2. But I like my side math. I like showing some work, you know? All right, so 5 over 2 squared equals, and we said 24, right? Yay. I'm going to put a little, so we don't get mixed up with some of our work here. We got a line. There we go. Okay, cool. Didn't want it to like, what's going on with that? Cool. All right, now, one more step. One more step here, guys. We're to divide by 24 on everything, right? Both sides. You can think about it all individually like I'm doing right there. So that it's equal to 1. So it's got to be equal to 1 to be in that final standard form. So 4 divided by 24. What does that reduce to? They're both divisible by 4. That'll be 1 over 6, right? So we're going to write it as x minus 3 over 2 squared over 6. Over here, we're going to have, see, we got y plus 5 over 2 quantity squared over 2 and 24. That'll reduce down to 1/12. So this is 12 equals 1. Look at that. That was a beast, dude. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of work, man. Completing the square is no joke, especially when you have to start dealing with fractions. Imagine this didn't divide out nicely, right? Then you got fractions on fractions. That does happen. A lot of times we'll keep it pretty cool, right? And maybe one set of fractions. But there we go, guys. All right. Again, you can determine what it is, what conic section it is, just by the equation in any form here by looking at your squared terms. Okay, those guys are the key right there to tell you what it is. And then beautiful, completing the square. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. I think it's good. I think it checks out. So that's it, guys. Have an awesome day. Be careful with your algebra. Easy to make a mistake. See you later.